If this is your first time to Disneyland, or even your fifth, here are some tips to help make sure you make the most of your time in the parks and you walk away feeling like your trip was a huge success. Welcome to the Savvy Sightseer, the channel that helps you travel savvy. Now, tip number 1 is to stay within walking distance of the park. Now, this is one you need to do even before you book your trip. Spend some time researching and finding accommodations that are going to be within walking distance to the park. I actually have a whole video on the hotels I would choose to stay at, and I've included the link in the description if that's something you would like a little help with. Now, the reason to stay within walking distance of the park is very simple, and that's just to save time. If you can walk to the parks, you can save time that would be wasted waiting for transportation, whether that be a shuttle bus or whatever else. And it also allows you to take breaks easily during your day, which we'll actually talk about a little later. Tip number 2 is to come to the parks prepared. That means that when you pack before you even leave your house, make sure to bring everything you will need. And then the night before, when you're in your hotel, prep what I like to call my Disney bag. And that's going to make sure you have everything you need ready to go so you can leave your hotel room immediately in the morning. Now, the first thing to bring are several pairs of comfortable shoes. Now, this is for 2 reasons. One is obvious, and that's if they get wet, you have another pair to change into. And more likely than not, they're going to get wet if you're going to ride those rides like Splash Mountain or Grizzly River Rapids. But the second reason I suggest bringing more than one pair of comfortable shoes is that you're going to be walking all morning, and when you come back and you switch out into a new pair of shoes, there is something magical about it, and it gives your feet new life. Trust me, your feet are going to thank you. Secondly, bring ponchos. This is just in case it rains or for when you ride a ride that could get you wet. So you are best off to buy these from Amazon beforehand and just have them ready to go. They come in nice little packages that you can throw in your Disney bag. You can buy them in the parks, but they are way more expensive. So I suggest just buying them beforehand and keeping them ready to go in your bag. And last but not least, I suggest making sure you have Band-Aids, bottled water, hand sanitizer, and lots of money. The third tip is to rope drop. Rope drop is where you get into the parks before they open and you stand behind a literal rope. At opening, you will start to hear this big announcement, and right when the park opens, cast members will drop that rope and then the chaos begins. You will see people literally running to get where they want to start their day. Now, usually they're going to line up at those locations that are going to get them closest to the more popular rides like Rise of the Resistance in Disneyland and then Radiator Springs Racers in Disney California Adventure. You can choose which area you want to start, and there's all sorts of theories on where to start with rope drop. But the main reason to be in the parks for rope drop is that it maximizes the number of rides you can get on. We rope dropped Fantasyland the last time we were there, and we were actually able to ride Dumbo, the Teacups, Alice in Wonderland, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and even mobile ordered breakfast and started eating, all within the first hour of the park opening, which is pretty impressive. When you rope drop, you're able to get in so much more early on, and it's really worth it. If you are enjoying this video or finding it helpful, I would really appreciate you subscribing to my channel or hitting the thumbs up to share with others. That way, I know I'm providing the right kind of savvy travel tips to viewers like you and can help others travel savvy too. Now, this brings us to tip number 4, which is to have a plan and a backup plan. Now, with that said, when you rope drop, I suggest having a plan of where you will start and then a backup plan if that doesn't work out. For instance, when we were there for Halloween time, our plan was to rope drop the Haunted Mansion because it's a really popular attraction during that time. We got there as fast as we could to find out it was closed. We were a bit thrown off by this and not sure what to do next, and so we wasted valuable time trying to figure out our next move. This last time when we were in the park, we wanted to rope drop Radiator Springs Racers, but the amount of people heading that direction was insane, and we knew it wouldn't be worth it. So we headed to Soarin', rope dropped that ride, and walked right on. Having that backup plan saved us valuable time in the morning, which is time you don't want to waste because you can accomplish quite a few rides during that morning time. So this brings me to tip number 5, which is more of like a mental tip, and that is to be mentally prepared for rides to go down. Like I just mentioned, rides can be closed down like the Haunted Mansion was for us. And in fact, the last time we were in the parks, it seemed like more rides than ever were shut down. There are always planned closures on rides that you can actually find out about before your arrival and plan accordingly, but I'm talking about the rides going down during the day unexpectedly. This last time we were there, this had impacted our plans to go on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Incredicoaster, Guardians of the Galaxy, Grizzly River Rapids, and Matterhorn. We eventually were able to work around the closures and get on all the rides except Grizzly River Rapids and Guardians, which was a huge bummer because those were two of our favorites. And ultimately, just be prepared that this seems to be the new normal and rides will most likely go down sometime during your time in the parks. So tip number 6 is to prioritize your rides. Because of rides going down, I suggest you prioritize your rides. And if you know there are certain rides that you absolutely have to go on, don't wait until the last minute to try to ride them. If you do, they could go down and you might not get the chance. We didn't do this last time with Guardians and Grizzly River Rapids, and unfortunately missed out on riding both of them. Looking back, I would have tried to fit in both earlier in the day to make sure we had a chance to ride them both. So to better help you prioritize your rides, this brings me to tip number 7, which is to get Genie Plus. It is one of the easiest ways to make sure you maximize your time in the parks and ride the rides that you want to get on. I did a video about this too, which I'll also link down in the description, so you can learn more about Genie Plus and kind of the benefits of it and how it'll impact your day when you use it versus when you don't. Now, tip number 8 is to mobile order. I honestly cannot figure out why more people do not do this. It is one of the easiest ways, quickest ways, time-saving ways you can to get food in the parks. So for some places, this is as easy as jumping on the app, ordering your food, going to pick it up, and being right there to grab it. But for more popular items, for instance, like the gingerbread Mickey during Christmas time, you'll have to do this first thing in the morning when you enter the park to guarantee you'll actually get one. So while waiting for rope drop, we will often spend the time mobile ordering our breakfast for later in the morning, so we can make sure to get on several rides, then take a break to refuel. Later on, while waiting in lines for other rides, we'll mobile order our lunch and dinner. Some things you can get almost immediately, like for instance, if you want blue milk in Galaxy's Edge, every single time we've been able to quickly order that and then walk up to the window and pick it up. But other things you are going to find are going to be several hours out, your window to pick them up. So just be kind of aware of that. Be prepared to order several hours before you want to eat if you're looking for some of those more popular places or items. Tip number 9 is to take a break halfway through the day. Now, staying all day in the parks can be exhausting, especially if you have little kids. So to make sure everyone continues to enjoy themselves, take a break midway through the day. We often go really hard until lunch. We have lunch in the parks, and then we head back to our hotel to just rest, whether that's just lying on the bed or a lot of times with the kids, it means swimming. Then we head back into the parks for dinner and the rest of our evening for more rides and watching the fireworks or taking part in the evening shows. And my very last, most important tip is tip number 10, which is to have fun. I am a firm believer that if you plan and prep for your Disney trip, especially if this is your first time, you are more likely to enjoy it. Don't wing it. You'll stand around not sure what to do, and I feel like you get more out of your trip when you do plan. And part of that plan is to know that things are going to happen. The ride you couldn't wait to ride is going to go down. The treat you wanted will sell out before you can get it, and it might even rain. But just remember, you are in Disneyland. Look around you, listen to the music, and take it all in. You will soon realize that you are in the most magical place on Earth. Thank you for joining me and letting me share with you some tips to help make your Disneyland vacation more successful. Make sure to check out my website, thesavvysightseer.com, to find more trips to travel savvy, not only for Disneyland, but other destinations. And I would love for you to hit subscribe to help make this the go-to channel for savvy travel.